Why is it that our money is worth so much less now than it was in the 2000s, the 1990s, the 1980s? It's called, very simply put, Republican policies. Every single time they're in office and they have power, they up our entire economy royally with spikes on the bat right up our asses. Donald Trump will do something to make gas prices go up again. I promise you. And look at where we are today. Guys, real quick, do me a favor. You don't have to do anything in terms of spending any more extra money. Just do your normal shopping using the link below in the description on Amazon. Use your money for things that you need while at the same exact time supporting the channel. Well, good time of day, whatever time of day it is for you, to all of my beautiful people from around the world. And God damn it, do I have a show for you today. And, you know, there is only one group of people that is dumb enough. I'm sorry, let me start all over. I have to start the show by telling you guys, you're going to hear me spelling things out now. Not because YouTube is so strict like over at TikTok where they just ban you for calling all these DUMEs what they are. But when I say DUMEs, you guys know what that means, right? And when I say STupidity or the DUMist people, you guys know what these things mean, right? I'm going to have to say it like that. And the only reason why, Alan, is because I have this feeling, no one's ever said this to me. It's just like a feeling that I have when I'm live. And also because of the videos when I upload them. I think the algorithm is hearing me call these people the DUMest people on the planet. And it doesn't like that. Like, it feels like I'm being insulting to them. And I hurt their little tiny feelings, you know, and I understand that their little tiny feelings are hurt. This is the MAGA movement for you. They're the weakest crybaby bunch of people we've ever seen in our entire lives, right? I mean, they're so emotional, you know, especially the MAGA men, right, Crystal? I mean, they are the most emotional people we've ever seen, you know? And so I think the algorithm, when I'm live, and I go around saying, you know, this, look at this DUME over here, and look at this DUMS person, Trump supporters are the DUMS people on the planet, all that stuff. It hears me, and it does not push me out as much as possible. So I'm not gonna say that today, right? I'm gonna spell it out, Crystal Sigler, and I expect to have over 30,000 people come through the show today. That's what I expect, because I'm doing it like that. I think we're gonna have a huge show today. We're gonna have 30,000 or more people come in. This is Rooster, who asks a very good question. He says, aren't you tired of your money buying you less every day? That is an excellent both observation and also question, you know? But yes, we are very tired of that. Phase Ram here is one of the DUMist people on the planet. As we can tell, he says, so are leftists. You know what I mean? Like, what's with the leftist nonsense? You know what I mean? Like, what's that? We don't call them rightists. What is that? Like, is that supposed to be like a, is that supposed to be derogatory or something? Is that what that means? You know, like liberal, you know, like, are these supposed to be bad things? I'm a proud leftist. That's what I am. I mean, if you want to call me that, I don't care. I just don't understand what the meaning is behind that and why they, like, he's saying it in a way as if it's derogatory, like I'm supposed to be upset about it. I just don't understand the meaning of it. Like, how is that, or liberal or anything else, in your DUMB heads? How's that an insult? It doesn't make any sense. When you call us these things, it's not like we're like, that's not true. I'm not a leftist. I'm not a liberal. And that's not what's going on. It doesn't happen that way. So I don't know why you guys. Anyway, you know, we've got a lot to go over here. But let's get back to that wonderful comment that Rooster left, which is, let's chat about that for why is it that our money is worth so much less now than it was in the 2000s, the 1990s, the 1980s. You know, like $50,000 in the 1980s could buy you a whole house. Now it costs $450,000. So you need a lot more of those dollars to buy the same thing, right? Now, I'm going to explain to you why that is. It's a very, very simple response as to why. It's called, very simply put, Republican policies. You see, in the 1980s, they came up with, in their complete and utter stupidity, this thing called the trickle-down economy, right? And what they thought, and what they, like, they knew what they were doing. It was just to make the richest people on the planet even richer, right? And they all got backhand, donations because of it, right? And the richest people on the planet just started collecting more and more money. But what was it? They gave the richest people on the planet, and only the richest people on the planet, the biggest tax cuts the world has ever seen, starting in the 1980s. And then they started this campaign where they kept on saying that the Democrats, if they get in office, they're going to raise taxes. But they didn't just stop there. They said that Democrats, if they get back into office, and we're going all the way back to the 1980s. Remember, Ronald Reagan was the president, and then there was Herbert Walker Bush, then Bill Clinton, and then so on and so forth, right? But they kept on saying, if Democrats, all they want to do is just raise your taxes. Except it was never yours. Democrats historically have cut your taxes, my taxes, and everybody's taxes. That's what has happened in reality. Okay. They have cut taxes for middle Americans every time they're in office. And you want to know how they're able to do that? The problem with Democrats also is that they don't tout it like they're supposed to, and then blame Republicans like they're supposed to. But what they don't do is what they did was they were able to cut our taxes because when they have power, they then bring taxes back to its appropriate level to the richest people on the planet. So yes, they do, in fact, raise taxes on the richest people on the planet, bringing back money into the economy, less money out of your pocket, more money into the government's hand to be able to take care of you and offer programs much better so that you don't have to spend so much. You guys get the picture here? And then Republicans get back in office. They take power again through Congress, the Senate, and the presidency. And what do? They strip all of that away, cut taxes again, once again, not for you, but for the richest people on the planet. Our taxes goes up because they got to pay for it somehow, right? They call these things entitlements, you know what I mean? And which is another thing that they love to try to add a derogatory connotation to. An entitlement, in other words, something that you paid for, you have the audacity to feel entitled to something for it. This is the Republican way. They don't give a flying about anybody at all, except for one group, and that is the richest people on the planet. And so when Republicans get back in office, what they do is they cut the taxes for the richest people on the planet. Ronald Reagan did it. Bill Clinton got back in office. Herbert Walker was not able to get one done. I don't believe. Alan, you could correct me if I'm wrong. Crystal Sigler. He did not get a tax cut done. But Bill Clinton came back into office. Well, he came into office, I should say, in 1992. In the election, he started his presidency in 1993, and he was able to bring through taxing the richest people on the planet, higher taxes. And it wasn't you and me, that's for sure, right? And then we were able to reach what was called surplus by hundreds of billions of dollars, too. That was the best part, right? So he's able to bring us back to a surplus. Who gets back into office and who takes over power again? The Republicans. What do the Republicans do? Not only does Walker Bush give them the biggest tax cut at the time, Walker Bush then goes ahead and gives them yet again another gigantic tax cut. It's what they do. He gave them 2 tax cuts. We go deep into debt by trillions of dollars in this country. Then Barack Obama gets into office, has to dig us out of this incredible, what was called the Great Recession, Republican, once again. I mean, it's literally every single time they're in office and they have power, they fuck up our entire economy royally with spikes on the bat right up our asses. That's what they do. And then, Democrats come in and they fix it. And then we go into all-time highs. Every single time we have a Democrat president, we go into all-time highs. Every single time, in every aspect, right? So then, you got Barack Obama takes us into that. Economy's going great. Everything's doing well. Then Bobo gets into office. And what does he do? He Yes, exactly. He gives the richest people on the planet another tax cut. That's all he did, though. There wasn't any other legislation that he was able to tout. He was throwing around tariffs just like he was this time, only a lot less. He had a lot more people serving as guardrails for the country and the government when he was in office the first time, right? But when after he gets the richest people on the planet, the tax cut, he continues with his vacationing all the time, continues with his playing golf all the time. He doesn't have to do anything. He's just literally hanging out, and he's not messing anything up in the first administration, except for the tax cut, which, by the way, was early on. So he already f***ed our economy. Our economy is going to go down the tubes because of this tax cut. We see it happen later. Right. And that's the way these things work. There's some time that needs to happen for you to be able to see the detriment. Right. And so what ends up happening is he makes his tax cut. It's the only legislation of significance that he's able to get done. It does, in fact, though, cut the taxes for the richest people on the planet. He ends up losing the election, though. And then Biden takes over, and he has to then take an economy that Donald Trump literally ripped to shreds and dumped down, like he took a shit on the ground for Biden to pick up. And then Biden comes in and fixes the economy again, brings down inflation. Donald Trump's an inflation-loving motherfucker now, isn't he? He just loves him some inflation, you know? So let's go back now to Bobo, though. So he does the tax cut. So we've gotten up to Joe Biden, right? But we're going to go back to Bobo. Bobo, when he gets into office, makes the biggest tax cut that we've ever seen. And then on top of that, he goes ahead and spends an entire $8.3 trillion that puts us $8.3 trillion more in debt as a country. We don't have the revenue anymore. He done gave it all to the richest people on the planet. Remember all that? That happened in 2017. As soon as he got into office, he started his presidency in 2017, ladies and gentlemen. He didn't start it in 2016. That's when he got elected. You understand what I'm saying? So then in 2017, he comes in, and the number one order of business, let's take care of myself and all of my buddies. And he did. He got the tax cut done. From there, the country started to sink. Then we hit COVID. So he's already given the richest tax cut in the country's history. Then he's now on the verge of leaving office after spending $8.3 trillion, the most that we've ever seen in a 4-year term ever. But like in comparison, Joe Biden left office with some $4.5, $4.6, $4.7 trillion, which is what his spending budget was, which is about what the spending budget is for the United States, right? But he spent $8.3 trillion. Why? Because he had already just given away all the money, the revenue that the United States counts on, which is taxes, right? So now that happens, he ends up having the battle of his life against an actual tough guy who would beat the shit out of him in a fight, Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden beats the ever-loving shit out of him in the election, right? But what ended up happening, though, was before the election happened, there was a time period in early spring. Do you guys remember this? In early spring, Donald Trump decided that he was going to go ahead and threaten Saudi Arabia because they were making too much oil. And his oil buddies literally took a shot in the dark. I mean, they did not think that Donald Trump was going to be this DUMB. They did not in a million years think that this guy could be this stupid. They did not think it was going to happen. And they go to him and they actually say to him, Donald, this is his buddies. Hey, Donald, could you do us a favor? We are over here making billions of dollars on our oil, okay? And we need you to go ahead and do something to make our oil prices go higher so that we can make more money. Is there any way that you can help us? And Donald Trump was like, you know what? If it's going to get you to like me, I'll do that, okay? I'm going to do it. And he ends up going to Saudi Arabia, who at the time was the number one creator of oil. They didn't create oil, but you know what I mean? They were the number one place oil was coming out of was out of Saudi Arabia. It's out of the United States now, thanks to Joe Biden. Under Joe Biden, we ended up surpassing everybody and getting more oil coming out of our ground than anybody else. In fact, not only are because of Joe Biden's administration and his policies and the Inflation Reduction Act, not only did we surpass the entire world in terms of oil production in this country, becoming the number one oil producing country in the world, it also was we are the number one at the time, especially during the Biden, because we're not doing it as much now because Bobo's in office and he has no fucking clue what he's doing. But at the time, we were actually producing more oil than any other country ever has in the entire history of the world. That's how much production Joe Biden's administration got done. We are nowhere near that right now. Okay. But nevertheless, so he ends up threatening them by telling them that we're going to remove protection the United States offers Saudi Arabia unless they stop producing oil. And why did he do that? One reason and one reason only. Now, we have never, ladies and gentlemen, we have never had a president that is that stupid. Not ever. And you know, Walker Bush, a lot of people question his intelligence. Even he wasn't that DUMB. Not even he was that DUMB. There's only one DUME that was that DUMB. Only one. And that's Donald Trump. And so what ends up happening is Saudi Arabia says, okay, no problem. We're just going to stop producing so much oil. They end up stopping producing so much oil. And then what happens? It was a 2-year deal. What happened in 2022? Anybody want to take a guess? At the tail end of the agreement, our prices skyrocketed in terms of gas prices. And, you know, MAGA DUMEs, they think that was Joe Biden because he was in office. Nope, none of them. And I'm sitting here every single day telling them about this too. Like, none of them ever thought to themselves, you know what, maybe I should look this up before I make a grave mistake. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like having to pay so much money to get gas. Like, I just don't like that. So the last thing, I'm pretending to be a MAGA person. Let me get into character. Hold on. The last thing that I want is to pay more gas money. So maybe I should do some research. Right? Maybe I should do some research so that I could get some more information and I could make a formative decision here. Okay. Because the last thing that I want is to vote for somebody who is going to actively go ahead and raise my prices. So let me do my research. No, they don't do any of that at all. And in fact, they go out there and they vote again for Donald Trump, who raised gas prices. We saw $5 and $6 gas prices at one point, and it was solely because of Donald Trump. There's no other reason for it. It was because of Donald Trump that happened, and these MAGA DUMEs go out there and vote for him again. And then guess what? Just like I told you in February of 2025, I promised you, and I said it over and over again during multiple shows. Tia Kalincher will tell you, Alan Hinkle will tell you. I've been telling you this entire year. Donald Trump, you could mark I said it exactly like this. You can mark my words when I tell you Donald Trump will do something to make gas prices go up again. I promise you. And look at where we are today. Gas is at $4 a gallon. And you like, just please understand that is, we will be hoping for that one day in the very near future when the reserve runs out and gas goes to $7 and $8 a gallon. We're gonna hit that also. But nevertheless, let's pretend that never happens. Gas prices has shot up to $4, and many of us have seen it over $4 because of one guy named Donald Trump, another presidency that he has with yet again another inflationary performance. Once again, I mean, like every single thing that this guy has accomplished while in office in both his first and second term is one thing and one thing only that you can 100% depend on. And that is to make everything skyrocket in price. Everything skyrocketed in price when Donald Trump was in office. The first time when he started throwing these tariffs around, we started seeing things left and right jump up in price. But then, of course, the big one being gas because of what he did in April of 2020. And now he's back in office. And what did he do? Started a war with the entire world, tariff war. And now here we are with all of these inflationary prices that he has created, again, because of his complete and utter stupidity. That's right. And so thank you so much, Rooster, for that comment. It started off the show with a 22 and a half minute rant about why our money sucks right now because of Republican policy.